Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Beer number one of the night.
Me too.
Maybe.
For some of us. Hey guys, this is Matt Scott, and I'm with my dudes in a very particular order. Eric.
Hello.
Dag.
What up?
And our very special guest, Deal. Kevin Deal. And we're here to present a very special episode. As we go through our chronological exploration from year to year, occasionally a James Bond movie was released during that year. For those years, we are going to add an extra episode to our podcast with our Bond fanatic, Mr. Cooking with Kevin himself. For these episodes, we are going to switch up the format a little bit. Instead of all of us providing feedback for our questions, we're going to throw the questions at Kevin, of course, while we playfully banter with him. Kevin, as our self-proclaimed, I guess we'll give you the nod, Bond guy, how does that title feel?
They're just a great series, and I don't know why everyone is not on board with the Bond film.
This new series is called Bonding with Kevin.
Perfect.
Yep,
Also,
there we go.
Okay.
I can't
Okay.
go too long without talking about the jerry-rigged suit there. It's not a tux, is it?
That's not even close. Actually, I have something to reveal to you guys real quick.
We're
only-
getting into it already.
Well, just a little
Yeah.
bit. I'm gonna do it early, get it out of the way.
All right, let's do it.
Okay.
I've seen this. This is pretty good, I think.
He has, of course, he has jeans on.
But
What do we got here?
Okay, he's taking off a drape,
Oh,
and he's got
oh,
the fantasy football title.
oh. Is he allowed to have that there?
Oh man, that's what a shame.
I earned it.
For anybody who
earned
can't see this on Spotify or Apple, Kevin won our fantasy football league and is now showing us his belt. What a shot in the face here.
Well, hang on. It's not just any belt.
It's
the
that's
big
true.
gold belt.
Yeah,
It's
that's
the
true.
big
It's
gold belt.
it's
And
the
I
big
want it.
WWE belt that we all chipped in for and gets sent, and then the loser has to actually pay for the shipping on this beast. What does this thing cost? Like $40 a ship? How heavy is that?
I don't know. I sent a check to Tommy for it.
Yes. You know how much that check was for.
Exactly. All right.
But
So Kevin, we're excited to have you. I hope you've already enjoyed a few beers, which we already know you have, and we're ready to roll. Without further ado, we present our first Bond movie.
It's real.
GoldenEye exists. A radiation surge that destroys everything with an electronic circuit.
Hell yes.
Yes.
Let me put down my Nintendo 64 controller and ask the group, is this a Podium N64 game for each of you? I'll start with Kevin
Yeah.
and work our way around.
hell yeah.
Is this a
I mean,
this is a top 3 N64 game?
Like, isn't it the most top-selling game for N64 that's not a Mario title?
Well, okay. I was going to say I think it's second of all time, so I think you're right.
I say yes. For me, it's total like nostalgia, but also like it was cool back then when we were kids and playing it. But going back and trying to play it on N64 is like absolutely miserable because the controls are
It's
like
impossible.
horrible. Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough. Cohen and I have tried to play it, and it's rough. We tried to play it on the Switch, and
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't done
is-
the new remade ones, but yeah, going back on, well, just the N64 controller itself is almost
Yeah.
impossible to use today. So I'd be curious to play it on a modern controller.
yeah, absolutely.
Well, they'd have to change the controls because they did release it for the Switch, but they
Yeah,
kept
that's what I
it
was saying.
as they kept it as the 64 controller controls, so it's still impossible to play unless you remember how we used to play it back then. But yes, it was number 3 selling
Oh,
for
that was
the
close.
N64.
Not bad.
Nice.
Number 1 was Super Mario 64. And number 2 was Mario Kart.
So Kevin was right.
There you go.
Top selling
Hey, I got-
non-Mario. We got our research in. All right.
I got one win on a Bond fact so far.
There we go.
All right. So before we get into this episode, we do need to go over the random ass facts. All right. So GoldenEye got a 7.2 on IMDb. Many Ian Fleming novels are made into movies. This one was not one of those. Did you know that, Kevin?
I actually did. I think it was the first one.
Yep.
That was one of the notes that I took.
Yeah. So can you guys name the other movie where the film site at the Cuban film site at the end with the satellite? Do you know the other movie they used to film that around the same time?
No.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Think Jodie Foster.
At that time.
Coming up blank.
It doesn't help.
Talk.
That doesn't help at all.
So what is it,
She
Matt?
she tries to use it to talk to one of her deceased parents. Contact.
Contact. Okay.
Contact.
I've never seen Contact.
Oh my gosh.
That's. I knew it. I was just
Crazy.
letting you guys talk.
This was actually the first time CGI was used in a Bond movie. Isn't that
Same
crazy?
that.
Really?
Yeah.
I did
know
know that. I knew they
Yeah.
used a small scale for
Yeah.
the satellite. I
Yep.
didn't know that, but it's
So
new to me. I like it.
So everybody loves that bungee jumping scene at the beginning of the movie, right? One of the coolest scenes. Well, at the time, it was the highest bungee jump off a fixed structure at 720 feet of all time. Like, not just anything. Like, they actually went
Dang.
extreme for this movie.
I would never do that.
Also, I thought it was funny that like, just straight up, they showed the dude's face, but like,
Yeah.
it was absolutely not Pierce Brosnan.
No, definitely not.
It was a silhouette. You couldn't really make it out.
No,
I don't-
no. When he's standing there on the dam, you could see that dude's face, and that was not Pierce Brosnan.
No, definitely not. And
Dude,
so
all the way to the end of that scene, whenever he ramps the motorcycle off to
Oh, yeah, it's ridiculous.
base jump into the plane, that was so awesome.
Yeah.
And so, last but not least, so I'm curious on Kevin's thoughts on Pierce Brosnan as Bond, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah,
according
that's a
to according to research, though, Liam Neeson, Hugh Grant, and Mel Gibson all turned down this role. Imagine Mel Gibson yelling, "Bond, James Bond," instead of "Freedom," because Braveheart did come out in '95. All right, so that would have been
yeah.
interesting.
Liam Neeson would have been a good one.
Liam Neeson would have been all right, but Mel
Yeah.
Gibson, hell no.
No, agreed.
It just
agreed.
doesn't
Did
make
you?
any sense.
Imagine Liam Neeson using the line, having a particular set of skills in Bond instead of
Yeah.
Taken.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been something.
Hugh
All right.
Grant might have been all right, but
Yeah, I mean, he's another British actor, and
He would've
probably
been
could
more
have fit
charming.
the bill. Yeah. So any other thoughts before we get on? Kevin, you ready?
I'm ready. I think.
Awesome. All right, guys.
Hang on, I got one more. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
perfect. No,
Hey,
add
come
on.
on, man.
Add on.
This was the of any Bond movie where Bond killed the most people at 47.
I did. Yeah, 47. I did
Really?
see that as well. Yeah. This was the highest body count for Bond himself. I saw that too.
I think I remember that fact. I just forgot about it.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty awesome. All right, win for Bond or GoldenEye, I mean. All right, guys. So, Kevin, remember, we're going to ask Kevin the questions and kind of chime in as we feel necessary. All right. So, what is your favorite thing about GoldenEye?
I have two things, and the first one was it's a Bond movie, like straight up. There's been some bad, good ones before this, but this one just kind of was in your face, action, nonstop. You had the charm, you had the wittiness, you had the everything that you want in a Bond movie, this is it. And then on top of that, to do like a specific scene, there's not a podium question for this, but that's a top 3 opening scene in a Bond movie for me.
Yeah.
There's nothing there's nothing I would change in that, and it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. I might have changed the dude's face that wasn't Pierce Brosnan.
Well, I'm talking
What?
from the beginning of the movie to where the theme song cuts in.
Was
like
this-
that whole scene?
Have him
Was
put
this
on
the-
a fucking mask.
Was this the first Bond movie that everybody saw?
Yes.
oh,
For me,
good
no.
question.
What was your first Bond movie, Kev?
My first Bond movie was actually Goldfinger.
This
My
was
mom-
the first Bond movie that I saw.
I think so for me as well.
Definitely.
So it is my favorite Bond movie. It's my favorite of the Pierce Brosnan series.
yeah.
I don't really like any of the older ones, to be honest.
Wow.
Well, we'll change that.
Whoa. That's a hot take for
Yeah,
bonding with
David-
Kevin here.
Dave with the hot takes.
Whoa. There's some good ones. So
yeah,
to talk about on that beginning scene, what's funny is if you watch, I mean, we were just talking about the trailer, and I went on to watch the trailer just a little bit ago, and they tip the whole twist. Like the beginning of the movie where 006 dies, or you think he dies, in the trailer they say, and he fights his best friend, and they like go on and say 006, and it's basically the trailer completely spoils the entire plot twist. It's nuts.
That's hilarious.
yeah. I guess I wasn't paying attention to that
But-
when I said that to you.
But I do agree. I mean, in terms of opening scenes, it's a stat. I mean, it has everything you're wanting, and again, it has the record bungee jump in 1995. What more
Yeah,
can you
it-
ask?
It sets so much up with getting another 00 agent to
Yeah.
work with Bond, which you don't really see.
Not too
And
often,
then
right?
on top of that, the villains there. There's, I mean, it's the introduction of Pierce Brosnan, even though you see somebody who's not Pierce Brosnan.
Right.
But
Solid
I
point.
actually love that opening scene, and like when
it's
you actually
awesome.
see Pierce Brosnan, he's hanging down from a vent,
Yeah.
and he kills somebody taking a shit.
Yeah.
That's when you actually see Pierce Brosnan's face as 007 for the first time.
Which is
Such
a
a
pretty
good-
good way to intro him.
Such a
Yeah.
great.
It's not him whenever he's reeling in the grappler gun.
Oh,
I thought you
No,
see
you-
him right there.
You don't really see it. It's not a clear depiction, if that makes any
Right.
sense. Like the first on like visual. This is Pierce Brosnan, and this
Also, what a great N64 like level crawling through the vent,
the
the
vent.
ducts,
Yeah.
and going in there with the remote mines. Oh my god.
I
Talk
mean,
about nostalgia.
that was my favorite part about this movie was that it was turned
It-
into
it's so
the
nostalgic.
greatest N64
I
game.
know.
Yeah.
It's the whole time you're thinking it. All right, Kevin. So what's your least favorite thing about the movie?
I have a handful, but it's all like minute things. Like a big one was I have written down how Bond gets places without explanation.
Fair.
Like there's two scenes that stick out. One is when he jumps over the side of the yacht where Xenia Onatopp strangles the
Yeah.
admiral.
Yep.
And it's like he just literally jumps right over the side of the boat in a clean suit right after somebody's walking right by him, and it's like nobody noticed him. Like I don't even know how he got there, let alone jump over the side of the ship unnoticed. But another one was like a scene like that was the the tank scene.
Yeah.
Not only did he steal a Russian tank and drive it all the way through St. Petersburg, and not only run over a lot of cops and kill people in general, but at the end of that scene, he just rolls up on a tank on top of a bridge, overlooking the train that Alec Trevelyan, General Rumov, Natalia and Xenia Onatopp are boarding to escape.
Yeah.
Pretty much like go down, and then out of nowhere, I'm pretty sure a train is faster than a tank. How did that tank get in that tunnel ahead of the train? It's like none of this makes sense. Like,
Yeah,
it's just like it's like minute things. It's a Bond movie. It's
Exactly.
over the
I was
top,
gonna say.
Yeah.
but it's like
It's a
how
Bond
does that
movie.
happen? It's a Bond
Yeah.
movie, I guess, but it's just like how.
Yeah.
Like it's something. Give me something. And then I had one random thing I added very last second was the awkward sex noises that Xenia Onatopp does after she kills people.
Well, she was getting off on killing people.
Yeah, like I understand, but it was just
And
like
pain in
way
general.
like it was like
I was
yeah.
I was
It's-
I mean
it's like AMR stuff.
I kind of thought of that too, but I kind of was thinking that as she was trying to, instead of like after, like as she was trying to kill Bond, like she was getting pretty hot and heavy there. I couldn't tell what was going on there, if there was some bondage action or what.
Bondage.
but it was like literally she shot ceiling tiles. Shot ceiling tiles and just like didn't even know she killed somebody and like started making those noises. It's like,
Yeah.
come on.
She thrives on chaos.
Yeah,
Talk about a babe, though. Am I right?
Oh,
For
I'll give you that.
You know who else she is, right?
She's a lot of things. Famke Janssen. She's in.
She's Jean Grey.
She's Jean Grey. She's actually in Dazed and Confused too. She's one of the stoner girls.
Really?
I think that might be her first role, but yeah, she's in a ton of stuff. But yeah, Jean Grey, great actress.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with those, Kevin. I mean, again, the Bond thing is it's like, how does he get here? This is ridiculous. That's ridiculous. But it's part of being a Bond movie. Something that
only-
defies logic.
I had a Nick
Is this-
pick.
Is this the only
I
Bond
agree.
movie where the love interest doesn't die?
I don't
Ooh, good
think
question,
so.
Kevin.
No, it doesn't.
What about the
No,
newer ones? It's been
those ones get tied together, so there's
spoiler warnings.
yeah.
I'm sure there's
Is it come on, it's not a spoiler warning. at this point anymore.
1973. I don't know.
When was the latest one to come out?
It was
Kevin.
what 2 years ago.
Yeah.
What-
Which one
No
was
Time
that?
to Die.
No Time,
Time
to
to
Die.
Die.
We haven't watched.
If you
I haven't
wa-
watched
if-
that yet.
Spoiler warning: if you haven't seen those movies by now, you're get over it.
Spoiler warning: James Bond wins in GoldenEye.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say. So that leads me to my next question. Who won the movie?
Oh yeah, I wrote this wrong, but there it is. The Broccoli's. Albert Broccoli and Barbara Broccoli.
The Belgian-
Albert Broccoli was a producer and owns the rights to James Bond films, and
All right.
he
Thanks for the
he was
education.
well, he was the main producer all the way up through the Timothy Dalton movies, and he actually stepped down, and his daughter took over for GoldenEye. And from GoldenEye, from the last Dalton movie, I don't have the number, but I want to say it's 7 years, 6 or 7 years. And
Yeah,
prior to
there
that-
was a big span.
Yeah, prior to that, they averaged a Bond movie like two years or less. So there was
Yep.
this huge gap of these movies. The daughter of the original producer took over the rights of this movie and got Pierce Brosnan on here. And it's one of the most, I want to say it's, for our generation, the most iconic Bond movie. And was able to
Yeah.
get interest
Agreed.
in Bond again for a new generation. So by far, the Broccoli's.
Yeah, awesome answer. I mean, I did see that there was this big drop, and then after that, they do churn out one, as we'll see in 97, 99. I mean, this one kind of relaunched that. So great discovery. I didn't know that at all. That's awesome.
Well, didn't they take a break after the 3 for Pierce
It was 4 for Pierce, but
or 4? Sorry.
yeah. So I
But
think 99 and
between
then
him and Daniel Craig,
Craig.
was the next one,
It was
right?
only like 4 years, I think.
Okay.
yeah, there's longer breaks between the Craig movies, but they started churning them out until COVID hit. And then,
Okay.
Yeah, because Casino Royale, I believe, was in 2006. Because we were at OU, Kevin, and I think we
Yeah,
saw that. in Athens our fall of freshman year, if I recall. You remember
we
that?
saw that.
Okay.
Yo, I think we went to. Did we go to the Fun Barn for that one? I think we did.
Oh
Man,
shit!
Fun Barn is
Probably.
awesome.
Fuck yeah!
But
I'm
can't
gonna
remember
drink to the
Barn Zoo?
fun barn.
Fun Barn.
For those of you that don't know what the Fun Barn is and what these guys are talking about, the Fun Barn was this rec. What would you call it? Like a rec center, kind of.
No, it's like an arcade.
It's
and
like an
movie
arcade
theater.
movie theater.
Yeah,
It
and
had,
not just like 4 arcade games. I mean, it was a full blown arcade.
Yeah.
It was right outside Athens, Ohio, where
And-
Ohio University is.
No, it's still there.
It's still there.
okay. Yeah,
And not to mention that this, like, for a college student going to a movie, the best thing was going to see a $4 movie. I mean, the tickets were
Yeah.
dirt cheap. It was the best price anywhere within like a 60, 70 mile radius. So like in college, you're buying Little Caesar pizza and going to see a $4 movie. It doesn't get much better than that for us.
did they give you didn't they sell dollar hot dogs at the concession
Yeah,
stand?
absolutely. Everything was
Yeah.
$1. You're right. I forgot. Oh man, that's
It's for
some
years.
GoldenEye's taking
it's
us
like
back.
miniature bowling, where
Yeah.
like
Yes.
you bowled like a smaller ball. It was It was almost like a.
It was.
like
It was a mini
skee-ball
ball. Yeah. Yep.
So
All right.
The
go
pins were on.
go to the Fun Barn.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please go to the fun barn. All right. So now getting into our podium roles, we've kind of discussed this, but we're gonna modify this a little bit to play in the Bond universe. So instead of a podium role for the actor, we're going to ask Kevin, is this a podium role for the character in the Bond universe? So a top 3 out of the 25 movies. So for instance, the first question is, do the side villains of Xenia Onatopp and Colonel Aramov podium as Bond side villains? So are they in the top 3 Bond side villains in any of those movies specifically? So we're talking character, because Kevin and I kind of talked about this and like doing like, is Pierce Brosnan the best Bond, or is Timothy Dalton the best Bond? That I feel like it gets overplayed, and so we're gonna take these movies specifically and kind of compare them to the other Bond movies as part of the character roles instead of the typical argument. So we're gonna use this as our podium is going to be each character from this specific movie. Does that make sense, guys?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I think it's a little different, but still on the topic. So I thought it was kind of cool. So Kevin, do these guys, Xenia Onatopp and Colonel Aramov, do they podium as Bond side villains?
This was an easy one, and it was no. There are so many more memorable side villains.
Yeah,
I know you guys haven't seen all of them, but I mean they're notable and in a notable movie, but they're just it's an easy no for me.
Yeah, I
So
don't doubt that
maybe
at
like-
all.
Maybe like top 10, but not top 3.
Maybe top 15.
Wow. All right. What about
Not even top
hottest?
10.
What about hottest? Is Xenia up in the top 3 hottest?
I didn't think about that,
I didn't.
but
Gut reaction.
I'm just spitballing here.
General Rumoff might be a top 3 hottest.
Whatever. All right. Does okay?
What were you
so
gonna say,
Nat-
Dave?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Hold on,
Dave.
Dave was gonna say something.
I wasn't gonna say anything. Don't
Okay,
put words in
never
my
mind.
mouth, Eric.
I'll put words in your mouth if I want.
Just
to.
raise your hand.
Yeah, we're gonna raise our hands. Sorry.
No,
Sorry.
legitimately,
I'm just-
Xenia Onatopp might be a top 5, but it's something I haven't thought about. It'd be 100. I'd have to look.
I
back.
think we'll save it in our pocket for another one. I'm excited to get through these because I haven't watched all. I mean, I've probably seen 10, maybe 12, or like maybe
Yeah.
half. But I'm excited to go through these. All right, next question or next character. Does Alec Trevelyan podium as a Bond villain, main villain?
This one was a tough one for me. The character itself, as Alec Trevelyan, maybe,
Interesting.
but for the movie itself,
Yeah.
No, like overall, if I don't want to criticize GoldenEye by much, but Alec Trevelyan has the potential, could have had the potential to be a top 3 villain.
And you're saying the scenario of him kind of being a agent that played into the system for all that time, and then all of a sudden basically turns on Bond, the whole British government. I mean, everybody, right? So like that whole concept is really high up there, but maybe as a character himself, he's not as bad as, say, Jaws or somebody.
Well,
Or
Jaws
Goldmember. Yeah. Or
Jaws was a
sorry.
side villain.
Or Goldfinger.
Exactly, and they kind of touched base with that in a Daniel Craig movie and one of the newer ones where there was a former agent that they knew each other.
Oh, so
That's for another discussion.
Yeah. No, awesome.
But there's that potential for that. But
Interesting.
Great villain, probably a top 10, but not a top 3.
Yeah, so maybe the concept, but not him himself.
Right.
Awesome. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. All right,
Ned
next.
Stark.
Yeah, Ned Stark, Mr. Sean Bean himself.
Exactly.
All right, so does this Bond theme song make the podium in the Bond universe?
That's it, easy. No.
I agree. This song
How
is
dare you.
horrible.
Tina Turner?
I know, Tina Turner, but it's so bad.
It's
Dated,
I don't want to say
really
it's bad.
dated.
It's just not notable.
Yeah,
Like,
I agree. I didn't.
There's tons right
I
up.
loved the song.
Were you dancing?
Huh?
You dancing with somebody?
I wasn't dancing with anybody.
Tell me your favorite line of that song.
Exactly.
GoldenEye.
GoldenEye.
Nope.
Bow, bow.
All right. So next, does Natalia Skorupko podium as a Bond babe?
I don't think that was pronounced right, but
Skorupko?
trying to remember how.
You pronounce it then.
I don't know.
I feel
don't
like
think
they
that's
say
right.
it once. I feel like they don't. They say it like one time when they're talking about the other person, the other survival person or whatever from that explosion.
She
So it's
corrects. She corrects
Yeah.
Bond and how.
Yeah,
it's-
she
Like,
does.
is that
it's
right?
said.
Oh, so Kevin, you
Yeah.
can correct me then, just like she did.
I can't do that right now, but but she's not a bad one by any means, but she's not the best. She's very I would say just above mediocre. So she's like mid pack. Like she's not the stereotypical like I'm just going to be in a bikini and do things like that's she actually adds to it. Like I think she's great for a mid 90s like and women coming into power stuff and does it right.
Yeah.
But I don't
liked
think
her a lot.
she's as involved.
Yeah, I agree with that. I liked her a lot. And the computer programming stuff was pretty cool to have her be, a hacker in the 90s was like this huge thing. It was some like, it was kind of under the table. You're a hacker. You're this like real
Hack the
smart
world.
person. Yeah, you could take over the world, and they kind of touch on that, right? In the movie itself with Boris. But yeah, I thought she was good, but I agree with you. I can see that.
What did Boris call the Americans? Slug something?
Slugheads.
Slugheads.
Slugheads. Yeah.
Boom! I'm back. I am invincible.
That's it.
All right.
Slughead.
So, does the Bond car podium, Kevin?
Again, it's a great movie that didn't podium with characters in it. It was just an overall movie. Like the BMW, like the Aston Martin shows an appearance in it.
Yeah.
But the BMW convertible is really the car that's
It's so generic. It's so generic, right?
I'm pretty sure BMW signed a thing with Bond because BMW was within the next few years was the Bond car.
Yeah,
Sounds
but
right.
you're right.
Eventually it goes back to Aston Martin. But I really wish it would have stuck with the Aston Martin. I mean, like I said,
Agreed.
That scene in the beginning was awesome.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. That was probably the best car scene in the whole movie, and of course it's not his new car.
Yeah, I forgot. We did talk about that. That and
Yeah,
the Ferrari.
the Ferrari. Oh, that Ferrari is
Yeah.
so pretty.
Was there other product placement? Like where they changed like normal things that Bond used
Was there
Right off the
for-
top of my
for,
head,
like, a different deal?
when he's going through the
Or was it-
gadgets, the typical scene where he's showing all the new gadgets? There's a product placement.
No, I'm asking. I can't
Oh.
remember.
I don't.
Like I knew that the
Oh,
BMW
no.
was a change from Aston Martin, but I didn't know if like the watch brand or anything changed.
I do know that there's product placement in, what is it, Perrier water? Because that's what
Yes.
the fucking tank
Yes.
busts through.
Oh, nice. Last but not least in this world, is Pierce Brosnan as 007, again, just in this role in GoldenEye, is he, or does this role podium in the Bond universe?
I think for sure.
Wow.
Not a top one, probably not a top two, but he's 3.
Whoa. All right.
Nice.
And I think it's purely. It might be just because of nostalgia for our generation,
Could be.
and but it's hard to top that. Like I said it's just a movie like kind of how Jurassic Park was when it comes. There's really no other cast with that. 'Cause I've watched the other ones, but the cast itself and having Bond really take the screen and come back as a brand new Bond, and when we were 7, 8 years old,
Yeah.
and just bring it to the big screen and just having a whole new generation brought to us. And like earlier we touched, I was actually going to mention with having the Bond like game on Nintendo 64, GoldenEye.
Oh, it's
like
such a
how
game
can you disagree? Like he literally just brought Bond to a whole new generation
Yeah.
with
yeah.
with this particular
With this
movie.
exactly. Well, that's what I mean, because like, again, I think the reference I use is like, you look at some of these running backs and they have like one super good year, like a Derrick Henry. I mean, he's a good running back, don't get me wrong, but there's guys that have a couple good years. But then you look at a guy like Barry Sanders or somebody, and it's like an entire decade of being the best running back. That's not Pierce Brosnan. But did he have one of the best years of all time? And according to you, he does. And I
Yeah.
think that's really cool.
100%.
Awesome. No, I think that's awesome. So, with that being said, does this movie podium in the Bond
think
universe?
You guys know the answer after I just said what I said.
Yeah,
Of course, of course it does.
I think it does, right? And in the universe known as Cooking with Kevin, it podiums. Awesome.
Like it legitimately set a new standard for Bond for our generation. And
Yeah, I did, and I think that's
influence on video games too.
yeah, and I think you hit it because you say it set the bar, and if we compare it to the other ones that he's in, as we're going to get into here in a couple of years, we're gonna see it's not the same, right? So that bar was set so high that maybe these other ones are not as top notch, right? A little more loopholes, funny business going on, but yeah, I agree. It does set a pretty high bar.
Funny business.
Funny
Shenanigans.
business.
We're
How
getting a
do
little
you,
squirrely with these next ones.
Oh, they get
Dave, how do you
squirrely.
really feel about GoldenEye? You haven't really said much in this one.
How do I really feel about
Yeah,
GoldenEye?
I know you said you haven't watched many of the Bond movies, but this is one that you have watched.
No, GoldenEye is probably my favorite Bond movie.
Yeah, I think he
because
touched
it
on
was
that at the beginning.
Because it was the first one that I saw, and I just wasn't big into action movies as a kid, and still not really big into action movies. I mean, I like the comic book movies and stuff, but that's just coming from somebody that likes to read comic books. So seeing the comic books come to life has been really cool, although some of the more recent ones have not been so good. But
Yeah.
I don't know, I just wasn't really a big Bond guy.
Fair enough.
Yeah, good answer. So, what is the favorite line from the movie, Kevin?
I gotta. This was a tough one because my absolute favorite one, if I had, I wrote down 3, but my
That's
absolute
fine.
favorite one was at the very, very end, and I think it's a common one. Alec Trevelyan goes for England, James, and James goes no for me, and it ties back
Yeah.
to her in the opening sequence where he goes for
Yeah.
England, James, and he goes for England, and they were working together. And this is where another reason why I think this is a great Bond movie is because it first time Bond gets really personal
Yeah.
up to this movie.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
I think it's fantastic.
What were some notable mentions?
So okay, these are some other ones. The other one's just because it's notable because it's in previews and in games. Why don't you just be a good boy and die? And he goes, "You first."
Yeah.
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 That's
a
just
good one.
that's just always there. And then another one that was kind of fun was it was when Jack Wade, the CIA agent, they gives him the keys to the BMW, and Bond tells him, "Don't push any buttons in there." And he goes, "I'm just going to go bombing around in it." And he goes, "Exactly."
Yep. All
Yeah.
good.
My favorite line was from Q. And whenever he said, "Might I remind you, 007, you have a license to kill, not to break the traffic laws."
Yes. Yes. That was
Yeah.
a good one. I like that one.
That's
Judy,
good. Can't have
our girl Judy Dench. All right. So two left. We got most likely to be the off-screen drunk.
Oh yeah. I've got 2 on that one too.
All right. Let's hear 'em.
I've got one.
All right. Go for it.
Whoa, you go first. You go
On-screen drunk or off-screen?
Oh, both, Kevin.
Well, you and I are on the same page. All right, Kevin.
I put character, not actor, and then mine's Jack Wade, CIA guy.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Dude, that guy
he's just like,
rules.
great. Yeah, that guy. He's like, let's go have a beer. Like, he's a guy I'd want to have a beer with. Like,
100%. He's
fun
seen.
with that.
Dude, let's be real. Bond is drunk all the time.
Oh,
I know.
He's
He's
on
const-
camera, yeah.
Pierce
He's
Brosnan's
constantly
not that
drinking
much.
martinis.
I mean, they're always there's a lot of drinking scenes for being someone that has to be so astute and like be ready for everything. They're always drinking.
It's
They
casual
are.
drunk.
Yeah.
Who's your other, Kevin?
Oh, General Rumov.
Yeah, typical Russian, right? Goes
I
home
mean,
and
he's
drinks
legitimately-
Pop-Off.
He's legitimately drinking a flask in the car in multiple scenes.
Yeah.
What do you, so what do you think? Pop-Off or Kamchatka?
Yeah, pop off for sure.
It's definitely pop off. It's definitely pop off. He got it at the Speedway.
Exactly. The cheap,
From
just getting
John.
the cheap stuff.
From
Comes in a
John.
plastic bottle.
From John.
All right,
It's not the
so
only thing
we're
we got from John.
all right. So we're gonna finish this up with our last and favorite is casting our friends. Who do you got, Kevin?
All right, I want to continue with Jack Wade because that's definitely
Oh
Cody.
God. I want to say Trip, and then Cody evolves into Trip in this, right? I feel like that was Trip's character, and Cody is taking the realm from him, right? I mean I agree that is Cody.
I was not thinking that. No, that's definitely Trip.
Yeah,
But Cody. I
But
was
Cody
thinking,
in our generation, absolutely.
yeah, Cody for sure. And then I put Daniel as Valentin Zukovsky.
I can see it.
Just can be kind of loud and brute, but gives respect where respect's deserved. I guess.
I
Like it's
don't
kind
know.
of one of those.
I think Daniel should be Onatopp because of all the weird noises he makes. That's just me.
That definitely worked.
Holy shit, that's pretty good too.
And then You got one, John? Or not, John? Damn, John's on my next one. What you got? Something, Dave? You got something to add?
No, I don't know.
I didn't do any of this.
Giving the facial expression as if I had something to add. Whenever I recasted this, I had 007 as Kevin. I had
He's wearing the
006. I had 006 as Kevin. I had Boris as Kevin. I had let's see. I had M as Kevin.
Oh man.
Q as Kevin. And
spelled
then
with a Q.
yeah, Jack Wade also Kevin. Yeah,
Nice.
so Kevin's just gonna play every
awesome.
character in this movie.
I did when I was doing this, I was trying to stay away from the main characters because then I could say the same person for every movie. So my next one is John as the experimental extra in Q's lab.
What is
The one that gets
Yeah,
that gets he steps into the phone booth and
Yeah,
then
just
the bag
just
goes
any
off.
of them. The guy that gets the vest on top of him gets shot at. The guy gets in the phone booth that just like with an airbag inside of it. That's John. Just like, oh, I wonder what this does. I'm gonna try it, and that was
That sounds about right.
so that's my list on that.
Okay.
Okay, that perfect transition of Kevin's list into my top 5. Because I'm so
right.
glad he ended it with like talking about the gadgets because it's my top 5 gadgets from the Pierce Brosnan era.
Hell yes.
Okay.
Here we go.
I like this. I like this.
So outside looking in, we have his watch from all the movies. I mean, it's not a Bond movie without his watch. And then going into the top 5. Number 5, the cane gun from The World Is Not Enough. That what is his name? Valentine has.
Yep. Same one. Same
I-
GoldenEye.
Yeah. Number 4 is the grappling belt from GoldenEye.
Yeah.
Number 3 is the X-ray glasses from The World Is Not Enough.
Oh yeah.
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 Number 2 is the cell phone in Tomorrow Never Dies, and that's the first time that the cell phone is introduced as a gadget in the Bond series.
No shit. Wow.
Yeah.
It controls the car.
And
Yeah.
then and then number 1 is the pin grenade from GoldenEye.
Yeah.
Because that scene
Oh,
where
it's so
Boris
fucking
is
awesome.
clicking it
Yes.
and Bond is just sitting there watching it the entire time, just
Yeah.
counting the clicks and waiting for it to happen. And it's when Boris
What a-
stands up and is screaming at Natalia.
What a
And then he
payoff.
finally grabs her. Dude,
What a payoff.
It's perfect. It's such,
I agree.
it added like so much more to that scene, like because after he had the spat with Q about how long is the fuse and blah blah blah, like, and then him just watching the clicks, knowing that that's a bomb that he has in his hand.
At one point, he goes,
Yeah, I forgot he makes a face.
but yeah.
Awesome. I love that top 5. It's great.
Yeah, that was good.
It's good. That's a good thought. All right, guys. So I think that concludes our GoldenEye. Any last words from anybody? Kevin?
I thank you guys for joining or bringing me on this, and I'm looking forward to do a few more.
Oh, I can't wait. It was good to start with this one, I think. We didn't really plan it this way, but it was really good to start with the one that we're most nostalgic on, I think, because now we're going to start getting into the ones that might be a little, like we said, a little more murkier, a little more rough, but then we're going to get into some funny business. But then Daniel Craig really kicks ass, and I can't wait for those.
Oh,
What are your guys' other favorite Pierce Brosnan roles? Because he doesn't have a lot.
My favorite is James Bond. And and the person the new boyfriend in Mrs. Doubtfire.
Okay, I was gonna make sure that everybody brought up Mrs. Doubtfire.
I like him in Mars Attacks.
my gosh, yes.
I had
Yes.
more. So my movies were Dante's Peak, Mrs.
Dante's
Doubtfire,
Peak.
and Mars Attacks. Dude, Dante's Peak's a good movie.
It is.
Dante's
It
is
is.
a good movie.
It came out the same year
Dante's
as
Peak is
Volcano, so like those two kind of got confusing.
Yeah.
I was on the Dante's Peak side, I think.
Dante's Peak all day, every day.
I
Like
Dante's
put
Peak
100
when I was a kid, that scene in the hot tub or the hot spring where they get
Where-
naked
where
and then
they
it gets so
burn?
hot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was stoked on that scene as like an 8-year-old.
the movies I had down, because originally I went with the original script we sent.
Sure.
And I'm like, is this a top 3 movie for any cast? And I said it was for Pierce Brosnan.
Easy.
And I had a
I
question
mean,
mark.
come on.
I had Thomas Crown Affair, which I think is his second best
Oh,
movie.
that's a really good
And then,
movie. I forgot
then
he's
I had-
in that.
And then Dante's Peak, Mars Attacks, and then Mamma Mia.
Yeah.
Is it Mamma Mia?
Oh, he's yeah.
That's all I
Kelly-
had.
Kelly's listening right now. And loves Mamma Mia. Loves him in that.
Sean Bean was also Boromir in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, of course. Sean Bean
Yeah, 'cause
rules,
he-
but
Yeah, he dies.
He dies. He dies in all of these roles. He died as Ned Stark. He died as Boromir, and he dies as Alec Trevelyan.
yeah. Oh, Kelly just
every-
said yes. She loves Mamma Mia. So great call, Kevin. I'm sure that one hit home for sure. She said hot dad and Mamma Mia. Can't beat that. All right, guys. So that concludes our first bonding with Kevin. Had fun. Love you
Heck yeah.
guys.
Love you.
Love you guys.